Well, I guess, what we have planned is to talk about, which is obviously an interest of people, is communicating after the conference. So our two basic ideas, and lots of people have other ideas, was to set up a listserv of some sort, and we can obviously talk about the best way to do that. We also can provide other people with contact information, but I like the idea of a listserv where we can communicate, but providing participants with contact of other participants is an easy thing for us to do. And also we have a website that we started that we can put as much information from the conference as possible. The gender news panel was videotaped this morning, so we'll put that up there. If people want to send their slideshows or their notes or full papers, we can also put those there. Any links you have. So basically it's open, and we're also open to the idea of having another event in some capacity. So if that's of interest, we can absolutely do that too. But we're happy to help facilitate and foster that initial collaboration and contact.
I just wanted to pick up on one point in terms of Kim's suggestion of working groups and sort of thematically focused working groups, and I think that's actually a good idea. And one of them that we heard about a fair amount over the week, or the 2.5 days, was in and around policy development. And I mean, Monica, Leslie, Steve mentioned it just recently about the fact that yes, there's a big wall, but there are cracks there, and that we have to be engaging in that. And I think in terms of collaboration, and a number of people mentioned this in the comments just now, was that that's an arena for, I think, John, you were the one who were talking about the fact that collaboration is the work between academics and other groups. And I think there was a call for, in a number of the presentations, for empirical evidence and study on these things. And that's something that from an academic community, there are a lot of us doing work in and around the policy arena, and we can do that. I think on the other side of it, from our standpoint, is we have to engage more. We have to be submitting to the CRTC. We have to be doing that. Beyond that, though, I think there are other policy interventions that we need to start looking at. And again, with the working group, I think is a good idea, maybe generated out of the listserv, is the idea that not all media policy is developed at the CRTC. So for a great example of that right now is foreign ownership restrictions are actually the discussions about the actual legislative steps being taken are being done in international trade as we speak. So there needs to be, and they're not necessarily coming to communities about, like ours, about what's going on. So that's another avenue where we need to sort of start talking and developing alternative policy. I'll pass it over to David.
The purpose of the idea, or the idea behind the conference, obviously, is to get everybody to share and develop ideas and possibilities for action. And that's exactly what we've done, right? Yeah. And now we've been able to identify other people that are involved in different things. So it's up to you as individuals as well to meet with the people that you've identified already. I mean, I think that we go back, Paul, when was the conference that you put on with Chomsky? The
2007.
2007, and that was a major impetus to us getting together, getting open media going. We started talking there about different elements for action. Then we went out to Vancouver a couple of years later, right? Was it the UDC? Was that 2 years after that? And we started talking there some more, and then Steve got animated, got excited, started doing stuff. We went on a tour down to the States, came and bugged you, right? Did stuff like that. And we made links with you, and there's other, all these things were organic. I don't want to go with that metaphor too far, but and actually began to develop and work, right? And we're at the same point again. We can revivify that action, and we certainly. And I do want to say, I recognize the work that when we go back to the conference that Paul Boyne was instrumental in organizing, like 4 or 5 years ago, was key in getting us to this point now, right? So here we are. So okay, talk to your neighbors. I've got other ideas as well. I got an idea for you. And we're going to go down here now. We're going to go to this Urbana place. We're going to be there at 6:30. We're going to have a carpool. We're going to have some drinks, and we can have a chat. So that's the idea as well. Right? But if you have some actual specific things.
Well, just in terms of the process for how to go forward, because obviously we can't decide what we're going to do here or tonight or maybe this weekend. But if there is a listserv, and if people who need to connect and start talking about little things they want to do coming out of this, share that they're doing that on the listserv. Yeah, people can plug in.
Can I ask, in terms of the listserv too, on the policy front, I mean, Lise, you were talking in one of the earlier panels today about where were you guys on the OTA stuff. And part of that is a lot of us are focused on what we're doing, which is helpful, but we don't always have the ability to keep track of what's going on at the CRTC, which you have do a little better than we do.
No, it's not
Nobody
a
knows
big
what
driver.
No, I mean, there's so much going on, but, I mean, on
Yeah.
certain issues, you're ahead of the game in terms of what's coming on. So the listserv is also, and working group kind of arrangement is helpful in that sense as well, because that gives us indication to say, okay, you know what? There's where I can plug in. And I have to be there, and these are the deadlines, and this is what I've got to do. And I can connect other people by getting students involved in other things.
Along those lines, though, I mean, again, like open media, if we have a website there for some period of time, we could have an element, a dimension of that website, right, that had ongoing, just kind of illustration of what was coming up with the CRTC for that. And certainly, and you guys are on top of it all the time. I mean, Karen's gone on a little venture now, but certainly that was one person that really helped to animate that, right?
And, you know, we're speaking, oh, sorry, Paul?
Just two quick things. Like in terms of what Arnold said about 1 year might be too long as well. Maybe Media Democracy Day, which is about in October, late October, 5 months from now, perhaps that could be sort of a target where there's some of the working groups that you hypothetically listed, like a policy group or an international trade group, and there seems to be an obvious need for a diversity working group as well.
Funding, yeah.
Maybe that could be a target to have some stuff done and report back, and rather than wait a whole year in between. So.
Just one more suggestion that maybe a named platform wiki might be better than a listserv, in that it just right off the bat people can organize themselves according to their interests and work.
We will say this from our low-tech capacity. We'll start with the listserv, and then if someone has the capacity to do the wiki, we're fully open for that. I mean, again, it's not our...
Do it in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it. We don't know how to do a wiki necessarily, but we'd be happy if you were to do the wiki. That would be
Sure,
awesome.
I would be happy to.
Yeah, that'd be great. David?
There's also, from the academic side, the point of identifying particular research projects that might be helpful, right? And so, I mean, if you have particular research ideas, maybe we could post those on the listserv and we'll work down that. I mean, I was particularly interested in the one that Becky brought up, talking about on the end there, how much money was being used to lobby government. I mean, we have no idea about how much money, we know there's a lot of effort going into lobbying the CRTC and other levels of government, but we really don't know what that is, right? I mean, that would probably be a very good place for us to start in some ways on research, to figure out what's going on there, and then use that in the story form that you were discussing.